This is Shoyan Mohammad Nazmul Hussain from Tax and Badbury News TV channel. Now I read the chapter of 8 uh, about say, about return and statement, income tax 1984 36 of income tax ordinance 1984 36, section 75. There has explained about the return of income. So please hear this explanation of return of income. Why you submit your return, income tax return for. So now please hear this. Section 75, return of income. One, subject to the provisions of subsection 2, every person shall file or cause to be filed with the deputy commissioner of taxes a return of income of the income year. A, if the total income of the person during the income year exceeds the maximum amount that is not chargeable to tax under this ordinance. Or B, if such person was assessed to tax for any one of the 3 years immediately preceding that income year. Or C, if the person is there has mentioned many causes why you submit the return. Now why you submit the return. One, a company to a non-government organization registered with NGO Affairs Bureau. Or 3, a cooperative society. Or 4 out of C, 4, a firm. Or 5, an association of person. Or 6, a shareholder, director, or a shareholder, employee of a company. Or 7, a partner of a firm. Or 8, an employee of a government or an authority, cooperation body, or unit of the government, or formed by any law and order or instrument being in force. If the employee at any time in the income year draws a basic salary of taka 16,000 or more, or nine, an employee holding an executive or a management position in a business or profession. D, if the person not being a institution established solely for charitable purpose or a fund has an income during the income year which is subject to tax exemption or lower tax rate under section 44. Or E, if the person at any time during the relevant income year fulfills any of the following condition, namely one of E owns a motor car, or two owns a membership of a club registered under any law হচ্ছে governing governing value added tax, or three runs any business or profession having trade license from a city corporation, a পৌরসভা or a union পরিষদ, or four has registered with a recognized professional body as a doctor, a dentist, lawyer, chartered accountant, cost and management accountant, engineer, architect, or survey, or any other similar profession, or five has registered with the board as an income tax practitioner, or six has a membership of a chamber of commerce or industries, or a trade association or body. Seven runs for a office of a পৌরসভা, city corporation, or a member of parliament. 8 participate in a tender floated by government, semi-government, autonomous body, or a local authority, or 9 serves in the board of directors of a company or a group of companies. 10 participates in a ride sharing arrangement by providing a motor vehicle, provided that any non-resident Bangladeshi may file his return of income along with bank draft equivalent to the tax liability, if any, on the basis of such return to his nearest Bangladesh mission, and the mission will issue a receipt of such return with official seal and send the return to the board. To a return of income under subsection 1 shall not be mandatory for an educational institution receiving government benefits under the monthly payment order MPO, or to a public university, or 3 a fund, or 3a non-resident not being a non-resident individual having no permanent establishment in Bangladesh, or 3b a non-resident individual having no fixed base in Bangladesh, or for any class of person which is the board by order in official gazette exempted from filing the return. 3 subject to the provision of subsection 4, the return under subsection 1 shall be a furnished in the prescribed from setting forth therein such particular and information or accompanied by such schedule statement account annexer or documents as may be prescribed, be signed or verified. One, in the case of an individual, by the individual himself, where the individual is absent from Bangladesh by the individual concerned or by some person duly authorized by him in this behalf, and when the individual is mentally incapacitated and from attending to his affairs by his guardian or by any other person competent to act on his behalf. Two, in the case of a Hindu undivided family by the Karta and where the Karta is absent from Bangladesh or is mentally incapacitated from attending to his affairs by any other adult member of such family. 3, in the case of a company or a local authority by the principal officer thereof. 4, in the case of a firm by any partner thereof, not being a minor. 5, in the case of any other association by any member of the association or the principal officer thereof. 6, in the case of any other person by that person or by any person competent to act on his behalf. C, accompanied by in the case of individual statement of assets, liability and lifestyle as required under section 80. 2, in the case of a company an audited statement of accounts and the computation sheet explaining the difference between the profit or loss shown in the statement of accounts and the income shown in the return. 4, the board may by notification in the official gazette specify that any return required to be filed under this section shall be filed electronical or in any other machine readable or computer readable media, be especially the form and the manner in which such electronic machine readable or computer readable returns shall be filed. 5, every return under this section shall be filed unless the date is extended under subsection 6 or before the tax day, provided that on individual being government official engaged in higher education or training on deputation or leave or employed under the underlying outside Bangladesh shall file return or returns from the period of such deputation or lien at a time within 3 months from the date of his return in Bangladesh. 6, the last day for the submission of return for a person may be extended by the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes upon the application by the person in the prescribed form, provided that the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes may extend the date up to 2 months from the date so specified, and he may further extend the date up to 2 months with the approval of the inspecting joint commissioner. 75A, return of withholding tax. This is the important para context about say this is the method pre-activities before submission the income tax return. 75A, return of withholding tax. One, every person, being a company or a cooperative society or a non-government organization registered with NGO Affairs Bureau, shall file or cause to be filed with the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes under those jurisdiction. He is an SSC, a return of the tax deduction or collected under the provision of Chapter-viii of this ordinance. To return of under section 1 shall be furnished in the prescribed from setting forth therein such particular and information and accompanied by such shareholders statement, accounts, annexures or documents as may be prescribed, be signed or verified in the manner as specified in clause B of subsection 3 of section 75, C, filed apparently by the following dates. 1. First return by 31st January of the year in which the deduction or collection was made. 2. Second return by 31st July of the next year following the year in which the deduction or collection was made, provided that the last date for the submission of a return as specified in this section may be extended by the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes up to 15 days from the date so specified. 3. The board may, by the notification in the official gazette, specify the cause in which the return required to be filed under the section shall be filed electronical or in any other machine readable or computer readable media. B. Specify the form and the manner in which such electronic machine readable or computer readable returns shall be filed. 75A, audit of the return of withholding tax. 1. The Deputy Commissioner of Taxes, with the approval of the board, shall select a number of return of withholding tax filed under section 75A for audit. To the Deputy Commissioner, to number 2, not 2. The meaning of addressing, not addressing, numbering 2. The Deputy Commissioner of Taxes shall conduct the audit of the selected return in respect of the following matters. A. Whether the tax has been deducted or collected at rate in the amount and in the manner as provided in Chapter 7 of this ordinance and the rules under there are rules made thereunder. B. Whether the tax collected or deducted has been paid to the credit of government or has been paid in accordance with the manner and within the time as prescribed. See whether the certificate of tax deduction or collection has been furnished in accordance with the government of this ordinance. 3. where an audit under this section to result in finding that the provision of this ordinance in respect of the matter mentioned in clause A, B, or C of subsection to have not complied with the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes conducting the audit may take necessary action under this ordinance, including the actions under section 57, 57A, and 140, 124. For no returns shall be selected for the audit after the expiry of 4 years from the end of another year in which the return was filed. 75B obligation is furnished annual information return. One government may, by notification in the official gazette, require any person or group of person responsible for registering or maintaining books of accounts or other documents containing a record of any specified financial transaction under any law for the time being in force to furnish an annual information return in respect of such specified financial transactions. To the annual information return referred to in subsection 1 shall be furnished to the board or any other income tax authority or agency in such form, manner, and within such time as may be prescribed. 75C concurrent jurisdiction. Board may, by general or a special order in writing, direct that in respect of all or any proceeding relating to the receipt of return of income and issuance of acknowledgement thereof in accordance with the provision of section 75, 77, 78, and 989 to 91.3 or 91.3 subsection 9331 subsection and the power of functions of the Deputy Commissioner of the tax shall be concurrently exercised by such other authority as may be specified by the board. 76 certificate in place of return, where the entire total income of an assessee during the income year consisted of the income classified under the head salaries or any other income from which the full amount of tax payable by him has been deducted. Such assessee may, instead of filing a return under section 75, file a certificate in such form as may be prescribed, accompanied where applicable by a statement referred to in section 75(2) para D, and the certificate and statement so filed shall be deemed for all purpose of this ordinance to be a return and a statement filed under that section. 77 notice for filing return. One, the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes may at any time after expiry the date is specified in section 75 by a notice in writing require any person other than a company to file a return of his total income as provided in that section if, in the opinion of the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes, The total income of such a person was during the income year of such amount as to render liable to tax. Be any company to file a return of its total income if it is not filed to the return under subsection 1 shall be filed within such period not being less than 21 days as may be specified in the notice or within such extent period as the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes may allow. 78. Filing of a revised return. Any person who has not filed a return as required by section 75 or 77 or who having filed return discovers any omission or incorrect statement therein may without prejudice to any liability which he may have incurred on this account file a return of a revised return as the case may be at any time before the assessment is made. 79. Production of accounts and document etc. 1. The Deputy Commissioner of Taxes may by the notice in writing require an assessee who has filed a return under Chapter-viii or to whom a notice has been issued to file a return to produce or cause to be produced such accounts, statements, documents, data or electronic record not having earlier than 3 years prior to the income year as the may consider necessary for the purpose of audit or assessment under this ordinance. To the Deputy Commissioner of the Taxes may specify in the notice that the accounts or statement, documents and data or electronic records or any part thereof shall be produced in such electronic form by such electronic media as may be mentioned in the notice. 3. The accounts, statements, documents, data and electronic records shall be produced on or before the date as may be specified in the notice. For in this section, a return includes a revised return or an amendment return. B. Data includes a defined in clause 10 of section 2 of 39 of 2006. C. Electronic record and electronic form shall have the same meaning as the assigned to electronic record and electronic device etc. Respectively in classes 7 in clauses 7 and 5 of section 2 of data and electronics communication Technical Commissioner Act 2006 39 8 subject section 80 statement of asset liability and lifestyle. 1. Every person being an individual assessee self-furnished statements in the forms and manners as prescribed in respect of the total assessment, liabilities and expenses of another person or the spouse, minor person as expenses of the persons expenses of the person or spouse, minor children of dependents of the person as on the last day of the income year. If the person A has in the last day of the income year a gross wealth exceeding taka 25 lakhs or B now fix up taka 3 lakhs 3 lakhs. B own a motor car. C have a investment in a house property or an apartment in the city corporation area, provided any person being an individual assessee who is not required to submit the statement mentioned in this subsection by voluntarily submit such statement. To every person being an individual assessee shall furnish in the forms and manners as prescribed a statement of expenses relating to the lifestyle of such expenses, provided that any individual not being a shareholder, director of a company, having income from a salary or from business or profession may opt not to submit such statement if his total income does not exceed 3 lakh taka in the income year. 3. Where any statement or mention in subsection 1 is not submitted by a person being an individual, the Deputy Commissioner of Taxes may require by notice in writing to submit the same by person within the time as mentioned in the notice. This is Shoaib Mohammad Nazmul Hussain. I have a consulting firm in name of Total Solution. We have we try to solve your income tax, VAT and company affairs matters. Also, we support to collect the certificate from any government agency, and we support to set up your company accounts and company accounts, company total accounts, and a set of factory accounts and head office account, administration, selling, whichever. Also, we support to set up your cooperative total accounts, and we support to prepare your company policy and project profile. Also, we support to collect finance from any financial institution or bank and any other banking company. So please contact with us. Our contact number is 0179 8121 323 and other number 01758 9316. We wish to Allah bless you. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.